Right, let's go for it then. Let's do
Okay.
it. Let's do this thing. So, evening, everybody. It is, Christ, what date is it? I always keep forgetting. It's the 4th of December, Sunday, 4th of December. And we've had a couple of hiccups already, but hopefully the technology will work. And joining me tonight is Vin Perry French, isn't it?
Ooh, full name, yeah.
Yeah, Vin
I usually
PF.
go with Vin PF, yeah.
Vin PF, which rolls off the tongue a lot better. Of No Nonsense Whisky, the No Nonsense Whisky YouTube channel, which hasn't been going on that long, has it, mate?
No, I started probably May with the first trailer, and I've been going seriously for a couple of months now. So
yeah, cool. And great channel. So if you've not subscribed to that, you should do. He's doing some very, very interesting stuff. You had some of the lake stuff as well recently, didn't you?
Yeah, I've still got it on my windowsill here. Just you know, I got this from a guy called Gentleman Grimm, but the distillery themselves have been sending me stuff because I'm so new. I want to kind of get in with the new distilleries as well, rather than the old boys, because I can get the old stuff from any supermarket really. So
yeah. Whereabouts? I keep meaning to ask. Whereabouts are you based?
I'm based in Coventry.
Oh right.
Yeah. So until
not
recently,
that far away from me actually.
No, not at all. But until recently, we had Whisky Wednesday, which was he was based in Birmingham, Joe, and he recently passed it over. So now I think I'm one of the only guys in the Midlands doing what we do. So,
and I get the impression there's quite a big there is quite a big Midlands whiskey base, isn't there? I know on Twitter, I can't remember who it is. There's like is it the Miss Whiskey or something? And there's the Miss Whiskey Junior. There's like a Birmingham Whiskey Club or something.
Yeah, so the Birmingham Whiskey Club is where it's at. Coventry is appalling for it. There's nothing here, but only a short hop on the train.
I've been to Coventry, and yeah, I'll agree. You could just
there's nothing here.
Coventry is appalling, and just left it there, mate.
So yeah, a short hop on the train to Birmingham, but they do tastings and all sorts of excellent stuff. They do some really good work.
Cool, excellent. I'm really hoping that it all sticks together, because I know it's kind of jumping a little bit on my screens that I've got, so we'll see how it goes. The audio is the most important thing, to be perfectly honest. So I'm hoping, because I suddenly realised a bit earlier, I didn't double check. We are doing Tomintoul today, aren't we?
Tomintoul, yeah. Oh, I hope
thank
so.
God for that.
That's what I've got.
So, yeah. I was doing my notes, and then I was like, hang on, because I'm doing Spey with somebody else. And then I'm trying to sort out, I'm doing Mortlach potentially tomorrow. And then I was like writing my notes down. I was like, I am doing Tomintoul with Vin, yeah? And I just never got around to sending you a text. So fortunately, good. Right, okay. Yeah. So I'll do a little spiel in terms of the history behind it. Because this particular sample I got was from Ian Forteith, who's the brand ambassador for Angus Dundee, who own Tomintoul now. So I really need to make sure that I get this right, because he might be watching this, and I don't want to put him to shame. So if you don't make a noise, Vin, I'll put the map up of where Tomintoul is now, and hopefully it won't cover your face. It was founded in 1964. It's a relatively new distillery by two whiskey brokering companies called Hay and McLeod and Co. and W.S. Strong, and they basically set up the distillery to satisfy demand. There was a bit of a shortage of malt whiskey for blends, believe it or not. And Tomintoul is the second highest village in Scotland, so it's high altitude. It's not the highest distillery, because that's Dalwhinnie, but it's high altitude. There's a very good water source that's called the Ballintroon Spring, which is by the River Avon. And Ballintroon is actually the name of the peated malt that the new owners do, which handily I have, and I will cover tomorrow, having done this, because it saved me writing the notes again. It was bought by White and Mackay, or the company's actually merged with White and Mackay in 1973. But White and Mackay had some issues, and they had various buyouts, bits and pieces like that. And in the sort of turn of the 2000s, they were struggling quite a bit as a business. And they were bought by Tomintoul Distillery was bought by a company called Angus Dundee, which was a sort of independent bottling company that had been founded in London in 1950, and they still own it now. So Angus Dundee own Tomintoul and also Glencadam, which I covered earlier in the challenge, and I can't remember. It was pretty decent, I seem to remember. They're all starting to blur into one. It has to be said. So yeah, not a massive history behind it. So not a great deal to talk about. Tomintoul, now that I've managed to find the list on the Whiskycast website, means Little Hill of the Barn, whatever that means, but that's the name of the village where it is. And that's it. That's all we've got. A little tune from the washing machine in the background. All very nice. So I've got, and I'm hoping you've got the 10-year-old.
I have the 10.
Excellent. So it's 40%. They do a 16-year-old as well. So the full-size bottle looks like this. And when it wasn't that long after I started working at the whiskey shop, when I was managing it in York, we got Tomintoul in, and there was a 10-year-old and a 16. So the 10-year-old it's 27 quid at the Whisky Exchange. I think it's 26 quid at Master Malt. So if you can find it on a deal at about 25 quid, I think the 16-year-old, I didn't check, but remember when working at the whiskey shop when we were selling it, I think it was like 35, 40 quid, which for a 16-year-old was ridiculously good. And it was basically one of those that whenever we got it in stock, we would sell it by the bucket load because it was fantastic value for money and a fantastic whiskey. So I'm hoping the 10 is as good as I remember. Anything I've missed out, Vin?
Well, I mean, to be honest with you, as you know from my videos, I don't tend to do any research at all. So I know all that is on the bottle, the case.
All right.
So,
is there anything on the back label that I've missed then?
No, Highest Village. Oh, I do know something. They have a world record.
Really?
For the biggest bottle of whiskey, 105 point something litres, and it was of their 14 or something. It's on Wikipedia. You can have this. I had a little look earlier.
Oh, right, fantastic. So they're a world record holding distillery as well. Superb. Yeah. So I've just set the 16-year-old. So the 16-year-old is 41 quid at the Whisky Exchange, which for a 16-year-old official bottling is still a bloody good price.
That's pretty good.
So from my recollection, it's pretty heavily, it's sherry casks rather than bourbon casks, I think. I always struggle to find those type of information, unless does it say anything on the packaging about?
No, nothing about the cask, unfortunately.
I can remember the 16-year-old was quite a sherry bomb, and I think that's their standard. So I'm probably going to get a message from Ian going, "No, you idiot, you're completely wrong." But I'm going to go with that. So I'm ready when you are, mate. If you're ready to.
I don't subscribe to your rules, so I've got a healthy dram here.
That's fine. That's absolutely no, that's fine. Well, if I wasn't drinking a dram a day, then I would be drinking a lot more in this. This, all of that would be going in the glass, but it's not. So I've got to stick to my guns. But yeah, in terms of colour, see, I've noticed that on the old Google Hangouts things, it's a lot brighter on here. So yeah, actually that looks very healthy. That's a classic whiskey shot in a cut glass.
Yeah. Anyone who watches my videos knows I don't do a nose in glass. I leave the science to you guys and the history to you guys. I'm happy with what's comfortable.
Hey, it's whatever works, mate. I used to be really, I was even, actually, to be honest, even at the start of this challenge, I was really snobby. I watched my Dram Zero, the rules video.
Yeah.
I was watching it back and I was kind of like, why am I saying that? God, I was a dick. And that's not even a year ago. I've really kind of mellowed out through the challenges. I've met loads of people because I've just realised, you know what? It really doesn't matter. It's irrelevant. It's like, there's no point being really snobby. So yeah, it's, whatever you want to drink it in, it can be a cardboard cup. It might not taste as nice, but as long as it's glass, then stick with it. So it is a healthy colour. It must be my screen that I'm looking at yours because yours looks darker than mine, but this is technology. It's a little bit lighter than I thought it was going to be, but I think I'm probably confusing it slightly with the 16-year-old, which was definitely a darker colour.
Okay.
So yeah, I'm going to go with sherry casks because I'm getting a nice sweetness on that.
Yeah, I mean, for me, I don't think if it was bourbon, you'd sort of get a bit more fruity from it, and it's. I'm not getting much fruit.
Yeah, there's a lovely sweetness to it. I'm getting a slight sort of malty toffiness. It's very classically Speyside. It's very much kind of like almost stereotypical. Now, I don't know if they've added colouring to this because there is a slight hint of something on the nose that reminds me of colouring being added. Just that slightly, it's not an off note, but it's just something, it just reminds me of colouring being added. Now, I don't know if they do, if they don't, whatever, but
Yeah, I have to admit, I don't concern myself with the colouring either. I've had a few things like the Dalmore's heavily coloured, but
yeah,
I'm not terribly bothered.
If they released one where it didn't have colouring in and kind of like went, there's the difference between the two, and then you could pick and choose, but they're not going to do that. So
No.
But yeah, to be honest, it's very hard to get past. It's classic Speyside Scotch whiskey. It's a very Scotch whiskey nose. It's kind of malty and toffee, and there's sherry fruit. It's sherried whiskey rather than bourbon whiskey. You know, it wasn't an argument, but I had a commenter say that the notes I was giving for bourbon cask whiskey were, I kept going down Christmas cake, and he said, well, I've always basically heard and read that sherry cask are Christmas cake and bourbon cask lighter, and it was like weird because I've always gone the other way. Bourbon, I've always gone kind of like darker fruits, whereas sherry cask is it's still sort of, it's more sultanas than raisins, that sort of, it's still fruity, but it's a lighter fruitiness to it. And that's what I'm getting on this nose. It's less Christmas cake and more of a, I don't know, it's more of a fruit basket almost.
Yeah, I mean, I get some kind of citrusy stuff.
Right, I'm rattling on too much about the nose. Go straight on the palate. Oh, that's nice. That's really good.
When I was, because I had a little bit before we spoke, and the thing that I find the most interesting about it is that like it's really simple. It's not complex at all, and there's no bad words.
No, you're right. It's not. It's a 10-year-old. It's like the entry level into the market, and I think that's why we used to sell so much of the 16-year-old, because we'd invariably get people trying this. Now it's 41 quid at the moment, and I'm sure when we were selling it, it was 35. So it was almost a case of the 10-year-old was, say, call it 23, 24 quid, maybe 25 quid, and then the 16 was 35 quid, and you could give them the 10-year-old and say, for just £10 more, you can get the 16-year-old, which has got that times 10, because this is so well made. This is so just solid. It's not going to blow your socks off, but like you say, there's nothing wrong with it. You can't say anything bad about this. There's a nice bit of oakiness to it. There's a lovely malty toffiness to it. There's fruitiness. Everything that's on the nose is on the palate. Yeah. And you know, what's it? Full price. That wasn't even on deal. 27 quid. You know, you're looking at most single malts now being 25 to 30 quid. If you could find that on a deal somewhere, run up to Christmas, somewhere's going to be selling this for maybe 22, 23 quid.
Absolutely,
that's an absolute bargain. I mean, that's a really good price.
I got this. This is a 35 silver. I got this from Amazon for £13. So
seriously,
next day delivery on Prime as well. So
that's ridiculous. Was that just for me?
Yeah, exactly. I got it just for this.
Oh, bless you. Bless you.
Well, I went through the list and I was like, well, I've got an Ardbeg 10, but I am not tasting that with you on live on the gubbins.
Yeah,
that would have been awful. But so I thought I'll get something that I'll probably like.
So have you ever had this before?
No, never. So the only thing I didn't like about it, if you were looking for negatives, is screw cap.
But is that just because
drink it quicker?
Yeah, is that because it's a 35, 37 and a half, whatever it is?
Maybe.
I'm fairly certain the full size bottle is a cork.
Okay.
So yeah, but hey, look, if that's the only downside that you've got of it,
literally the only downside I've got.
Yeah, the bottle is too small. It's got a screw cap on it.
I'll have to drink it really quickly so that it doesn't change.
Oh damn!
No,
what a shame. Yeah. So I can't remember. You don't score yours, do you?
No. The thing is, I find that from the time I started trying whiskey to now, my tastes have changed no end. So if I start scoring things on my videos, if I keep going for like 5 years, whatever, it's going to be completely different. So,
because you need to like go back and re-review and everything like that. Yeah, you've got more of a context as well.
I'm no expert, as I've said many times, no expert, so I don't pretend to be.
No, none of us are, mate. I don't know. It's one thing I think I've maintained, apart from very, very few people in the industry, for the people like Richard Patterson and things like that. There isn't. I don't think you can call yourself an expert because there's far too much out there. There's just so much. Unless you've actually tried every single one, then you've got no chance. Absolutely no chance at all.
Completely agree.
So that I think is absolutely fantastic for the money. I think it's a great entry level whiskey. I'm hoping the 16 is as good as I remember it was, because that was one of the best value whiskies that I'd ever come across. Is that enough to get you to try the 16 if you can find it?
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, this thing is. I love the packaging. They give themselves the little token of the gentle dram, if anyone can see that, and that is definitely is that. But it's, like I said before, completely inoffensive. There's absolutely nothing wrong with it. It won't blow your mind, like you said. But yeah, why not? I mean, for the prices you're quoting, I mean, there's some ridiculous prices floating around at the moment. So why not?
Yeah, for an official bottling age statement, I think I'm not going to give them ideas, but I think it's a bit like Glenmorangie in that they probably could get away with putting a few pounds on the price, and it would still be pretty good value for money. So yeah, it's definitely for me, it's up there as one of the best value whiskies I think you can get. It's lovely. It's lovely and warming. It's really kind of like if you were buying as a present for Christmas, and it was, I know they like whiskey, but I don't really know what they like. Then you're not going to go wrong with that. Nobody's going to turn that down at all. Even if they were like a hardcore Islay drinker, I think they'd still get through it.
Definitely.
But if they were, Glenfiddich, Glenmorangie, Glenlivet, that sort of thing, then I think that's got more character to it and more interest, but it's still not going to offend them by any stretch.
Yeah, and I think when I introduce friends to whiskey, I usually go for Aberlour 10, Glenfiddich 12, all the standard stuff. I think, well, this would be a really good one because you can almost guarantee somebody who's never heard of, never drank whiskey before would never have heard of this.
Yeah.
So it'll be a good thing to go, try this. This is really, really good to get into, I think.
Yeah.
Very, very entry level.
Yeah, and it's quite nice to be able to kind of introduce somebody to something that's a little bit off the beaten track, because then they kind of think, if I go into a shop and ask for this, I sound a bit more like I know what I'm talking about,
Absolutely, yeah.
Rather than just going, can I have the Glenmorangie that everybody else asks for? So, great stuff. Well, Vin, cheers for joining me.
No eventually,
once we got over the technical issues, I'm glad you enjoyed it. Tomorrow I might be doing another joint one, but the next one on my list is to do the Old Ballantrae, which is the peated version, which is pretty heavily peated as well. I've had that before as well, and that's got a bit of a kick. And yes, I was going to do the special announcement, but I haven't got around to filming it yet. So by the time I put this out tomorrow, I might have done that. But hopefully see you there.
Maybe. Yeah.
Maybe. All right.
Yeah, okay. I'm a definite maybe.
All right. Yeah, not a problem. But everybody that's watching now is going, what's going on? You'll find out very, very soon. Secrets. Brilliant. All right. So we'll call it a night. Thank you, Vin. So if you're not subscribed to No Nonsense Whiskey, please do, because he does exactly what it says on the tin. It's no nonsense whiskey reviews, no messing about, and it's not just whiskey. You did the gin, didn't you?
I did 2 gins. I can't pretend that they were particularly successful videos, but we'll see how we go in the future. But yeah, I'll drink anything.
Oh, really? Steady.
I'll drink anything fine spirit.
Oh, right, okay, that's right. Yeah, let's put a lid on that ad.
Yeah.
Right, I shall stop, and hopefully it's going to have worked, because otherwise we're going to have to do all this again. So stop, Ross. So thank you everyone for watching. Cheers, and I'll see you in the next one.